But look, a question that many Newcastle fans will be asking is what effect Eddie Howe's departure will have, of course, on Bruno Guimaraes' future. For more on that, our reporter Dama Sheth has joined us. I mean, more likely that he'll go now, do you think?
I still think it's going to come down to price.
OK.
I don't think that will have changed, but I think Keith touched on it there. The last 2 summers for Eddie Howe really will have taken their toll. Hugo Ekitike thought it was done and dusted. He ends up going to Liverpool. The Alexander Isak saga as well. And then you fast forward to this summer. Anthony Gordon's gone. Sandro Tonali has gone. They were in for Victor Munoz. He ends up going to Liverpool. Yaman Zambi, they thought that was going to get done. He ends up going to Aston Villa. And now the story that just won't go away, that's been going on before the World Cup and has continued, their captain, Bruno Guimaraes. Now, there are lots of reports suggesting that maybe there has been club-to-club contact between Arsenal and Newcastle United. Sources close to Newcastle United, and this has come from Keith as well, suggest that there hasn't been club-to-club contact and that Newcastle are quite surprised and baffled, really, why Arsenal haven't formally come to the table with a bid. Behind the scenes, there's plenty going on. Arsenal have been exploring the conditions of a deal via intermediaries to see how much it would cost to get Bruno Guimaraes to come. Now, people might start making comparisons between Guimaraes and Isak from last summer. I think there's a big difference in that. I don't think Guimaraes is going to withdraw from training or refuse to play, rather like Alexander Isak did last summer. He has got a lot of respect for Newcastle United. He wants to go to Arsenal and is open to going to Arsenal, provided Newcastle United get the fee that Newcastle United want. He's not going to agitate for anything unless it gets agreed between the 2 clubs. That's the situation at the moment. So, with regard to Bruno Guimaraes, it is ongoing. They're flying, I think, to La Manga on Friday. As it stands, he's expected to go with the squad to La Manga, but things can change in football, and it's just going to depend on what Arsenal do next, whether they're actually going to go and formally bid for Bruno Guimaraes via the official channels, or whether this behind-the-scenes scenario is going to continue. But, I mean, when we spoke to Eddie Howe last night in his last interview, really, as the Newcastle United head coach, he was asked about Bruno Guimaraes, and it's interesting what he said. We can't control the forces at play. So there's clearly something going on in the background. I think this one is just going to carry on for a little while, unfortunately, for Newcastle. OK. Let's turn our attention to Manchester City then. Real Madrid have formalised their interest in Rodri. Is it a cheeky interest, do you think? I mean, what's going on there? I mean, this has been bubbling along for a while. Once it approached the final year of his deal and he hadn't signed a new contract, the talk of Real Madrid really has not gone away at all. We understand that there has been initial contact between Real Madrid and Manchester City over Rodri, and there's an expectation that Real Madrid will make an offer. They value Rodri, because he's got a year left of his contract, at between 43 million to 51 million pounds. So that's the Real Madrid side. Yeah. Manchester City, make no mistake about it, they do not want to sell Rodri. Quite the opposite. They want to tie Rodri down to a brand new contract at Manchester City. Enzo Maresca sees him as a key part of his squad, of his team moving forward. Interestingly, Florentino Perez, when he was re-elected as the Real Madrid president, there was a little bit of criticism directed towards him because there was no representation from Real Madrid in the Spain squad. You remember when the Spain squad was named. That changed during the tournament because Marc Cucurella actually moved from Chelsea to Real Madrid. So it seems that everyone at Real Madrid, from board level to the certain new manager in Jose Mourinho, is behind trying to get Rodri from Manchester City. Interestingly, in March, when Rodri did an interview and he was specifically asked about Real Madrid, he said, look, it's up to the club because we still need to sit down and talk. But significantly, he said, given he's played for Atletico Madrid before, and I think it was phrased in a way, can a player who's played for Atletico Madrid end up playing for Real Madrid, the big city rivals? He said, you cannot turn down the best clubs in the world.
OK, just finally and briefly, because I'm getting told to say briefly in my ear, that John Stones spotted in Milan today. So it's going to be an
more than spotted. He's arrived there. He's been having a medical today. And the news coming out of Sky in Italy is that everything is agreed now and that John Stones has signed on for Inter Milan in a 2-year deal. I guess we're just waiting for a formal announcement from Inter Milan on that. These are pictures from Sky Italy from earlier on today, and they managed to grab a word with John Stones when he arrived at the airport earlier on, and this is what he had to say.
How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome here in Italy.
You got the shoulder going. Appreciate you guys. I'm sure I'll see you all soon. I'm excited to be here, so enjoy.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
So much.
Bye.
Ciao.
First, though, our top story this hour. Could Manchester City's World Cup winning midfielder Rodri be on his way to Real Madrid? Well, we can find out with Damesh Sheth. Damesh, welcome back. Could be an incredible deal, couldn't it? Where are we?
Yeah, I mean, this one has been bubbling along ever since Rodri started to enter, was about to enter the final year of his Manchester City contract without signing a new deal at Manchester City. Real Madrid have always been in the background. They're long-term admirers of Rodri. It is our understanding that there has been initial contact between Real Madrid and Manchester City over a potential deal. And now we are expecting Real Madrid to formalise that contact in the form of an official offer. We think they are prepared to pay in the region of 43 to 51 million pounds. So that's the Real Madrid side of it. As far as Manchester City are concerned, no, we do not want Rodri to leave the Etihad. We want him to stay. Not only do we want him to stay, we want him to stay long term, and we want to sign him down to a new contract. Now, that's easier said than done, because any attempts so far clearly not resulted in Rodri signing that new contract. He has just had minor back surgery, which by all accounts was very successful. He will miss the Community Shield and then probably the opening Premier League game of the season as well. I am guessing that both clubs will want some sort of clarity one way or another sooner rather than later, because if, and it's a big if still, Rodri was to leave, then Manchester City would need enough time to bring in someone who's going to have to replace a Rodri-shaped hole in that Manchester City midfield. Interestingly, just before the World Cup started and the Spain squad was announced, famously there was no Real Madrid player in that Spanish squad. Yes, that changed when Marc Cucurella actually transferred from Chelsea to Real Madrid, so they had a Real Madrid player officially in the Spanish squad. But it is thought that when Florentino Perez went for re-election, one of the criticisms pointed towards him was the lack of Spanish representation there was from the Real Madrid team. Now, it appears that everyone is on board, be it the board, be it the new manager, certain Jose Mourinho, about trying to get this deal over the line. So it's the early stages at the moment, but make no mistake about it, Real Madrid want the player and they're prepared to pay around 43 to 51 million pounds, and we're expecting an official offer soon.
Fascinating stuff, Damesh. Thank you very much for now. Well, we were joined by former Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher in the past hour, and he can't see Manchester City selling Rodri to Real Madrid at that price and believes Enzo Maresca would rather keep the midfielder and let him go on a free next summer.
I think 40, 50 million. I mean, if you're Manchester City, what's the point in selling him? You might as well just keep him for the extra year. He's as good as anybody in that position in the Premier League. We're probably the best, isn't he? Right now, you've seen what he was like in the World Cup. Seemed like he was back to his best. I thought the second half of the season, him and Bernardo Silva were fantastic and almost took Manchester City to the title. So if I was the manager of Manchester City, I'd be keeping Rodri at that price. It'd have to be something really special to want me to lose, arguably the best midfield player in world football. Even though they've got a lot of midfielders, he's the best. Even though they've brought Elliot Anderson, and he'd want to, I'm sure, learn off Rodri. And for me, I'd see those two as a pair. I see Elliot Anderson as almost the replacement for Bernardo Silva, who's gone to Real Madrid. So I think that'd be a big hole. It'd be really difficult to fill. If I was Manchester City, I'd be keeping him and letting him go on a free. I think they paid 60 million for him, getting 40 million back now. What can they do with that type of money? Not a lot, really. So I'd rather keep him.